Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You're in the Prog Corner, and today we are going to be talking about that most despised of museums, the poorly named Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, I know a lot of you prog heads absolutely despise that place because there are so many of our favorite prog acts that aren't in there and probably never will get in there. But I am going to make a case today that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has actually been very, very kind to progressive artists. You know, if you're a fan of punk or metal, you probably have more of a beef about this place. But we're going to talk about who's in, who's not in, why this place exists, how I feel about it, and look to the future of this great museum in my state of Ohio. You know, I went there a few years ago, and it's actually a cool place to go visit, but, you know, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about who's in and who's out. So let's look at some of the artists who are actually in. I wrote down, there's like 254 artists who have been inducted as performers, and then there's other ways you can get in too. There's a pioneer category, there's a musical excellence category, and then there's the Amit Ertegun Award. Most of these came in as performers, and I'm just going to go through them alphabetically and give you my brief opinion. I'm not going to talk about the country artists on here or, you know, the early stuff, just the rock bands and the rock artists that are here. You got ABBA. You got AC/DC, Aerosmith, Allman Brothers, the Animals, the Beach Boys. Yeah, they belong there. Beastie Boys, Beatles, Jeff Beck, the Bee Gees, Black Sabbath, Blondie, Bon Jovi, David Bowie, Jackson Browne, Buffalo Springfield, the Byrds, the Cars, Cheap Trick, Chicago, on and on and on. I'm not going to read them all. There's like 250, but you get the gist. The people that are in there probably deserve to be in there. So what about this idea that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been kind to progressive artists? That's ridiculous, because we know King Crimson isn't in. We know Jethro Tull isn't in. We know Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Kansas, Styx, Supertramp, on and on. There's so many great artists not on there, but let's talk about what progressive artists are on there. I mentioned the Beatles, yeah. Are they prog? No, but they're progressive. Black Sabbath, again, not prog, but very progressive. David Bowie, not prog, but very progressive. You could make a case that Chicago's first 7 albums are prog. I certainly think so. Miles Davis is in. Deep Purple's in. Dire Straits is in. Again, not capital B prog, but definitely a progressive act. The Doors, definitely proto-prog. Bob Dylan, definitely a driving force for a lot of early stuff. Electric Light Orchestra's in. Peter Gabriel's in. Genesis is in. The Grateful Dead. Okay, yeah. Terrapin Station was prog, right? Jimi Hendrix, the very first time I ever heard the term progressive rock was used referring to Jimi Hendrix. Led Zeppelin, yeah, they had some definite progressive instincts. The Moody Blues are in. Nine Inch Nails is in. I think they're progressive. Pink Floyd is in, Queen is in, Radiohead's in, Roxy Music's in, Todd Rundgren's in, Rush is in, Santana. You can make a case, real strong case, those first 2 or 3 Santana albums are prog. Steely Dan's in, the Talking Heads are in, Traffic is in, The Who is in, Yes is in, Frank Zappa's in. So there's a whole lot of really, really incredible progressive artists who are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So yeah, we have some omissions and they need to be corrected, but overall, that's a whole bunch of really, really progressive acts out there. I'm telling you, if I were a punk fan, I wouldn't be nearly as happy, because what do you got? You got the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, the Clash, and Green Day. That's it for the punk, man. Black Flag's not in. The Bad Brains aren't in. Dead Kennedys aren't in. Yeah, I know these bands didn't sell a whole bunch of records, but they were really, really great, and they were definitely influential. And on the metal side of the equation, if you don't include bands like AC/DC and Aerosmith as metal, what do you got? You got Metallica, you got Van Halen, Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin are metal, I guess. And Judas Priest just got in, but they did not get in as a performer. They got in for musical excellence, which is weird because that category is usually reserved for, you know, I remember when Randy Rhoads got inducted because of that particular category. So Judas Priest kind of snuck in there. So who's on the slate this year, man? Do we have any additions we can look forward to in 2023? Let's look at the lineup of nominees, shall we? You've got A Tribe Called Quest. I actually like Tribe Called Quest. I'm not a big, hip hop guy, but Q-Tip and the boys had some really phenomenal records. Kate Bush. Wouldn't that be something if Stranger Things gets Kate Bush in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That would be awesome. Sheryl Crow's been nominated. She's probably a shoo-in. Missy Elliott's been nominated. I met her once, but I have no idea. I know nothing about her music. Iron Maiden's been nominated. Oh, yeah. Let's hope they get in as a performer, not as musical excellence, the way Judas Priest got in. Then you got Joy Division / New Order. They're going to try to put them in together, kind of like Funkadelic Parliament or Faces and Small Faces. Just group it all together. I am a firm believer they deserve to be in there, absolutely. Cyndi Lauper's been nominated. Just no. George Michael's been nominated. That makes no sense. Wham's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So why should George? Willie Nelson's been nominated. Hey, if Dolly Parton's in, why not Willie? Rage Against the Machine. They put out 3 albums, but all 3 of them are great. Soundgarden. Yeah, now we're trying to get the 3rd grunge band in because Nirvana and Pearl Jam are both in, so this would be cool to have Soundgarden in. The Spinners, yeah, I guess they had a whole bunch of hits. Cupid, I guess, was them. The White Stripes have been nominated. Don't ask me why. It sure isn't for musical excellence because Meg White cannot drum. And finally, Warren Zevon, who a lot of people have been crying and screaming and yelling for the inclusion of Warren Zevon. And I guess they have a point. He's just a terrific artist, and he's got a lot of fans that have been fighting on his behalf posthumously to try to get that boy in. I know very little about Warren Zevon. I know exactly 2 songs, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, and that werewolf song. But anyway, so the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, yeah, it has its defects. It is a business. Let's be honest. That's what this is. And if I'm being completely honest, they should probably change the name to the Music Hall of Fame, because if you're going to allow jazz and country and hip-hop artists, is it really the Rock Hall? And I know the argument is made that, rock and roll was built from all those different components, R&B and soul, country music, definitely big influence in the early years of rock and roll, but rock turned into something all its own genre, and therefore it is the Rock Hall. So maybe I'm not a big fan of having Tupac Shakur and NWA in the Rock Hall, but they're in, so get over it. It's fine. There's plenty of great music to go around, and if it brings more people into the Rock Hall so they can learn a few things about some other artists in the history of rock music, that is nothing but a positive. So on the whole, thumbs up or thumbs down for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Well, as a Prog fan, reflexively and instinctively, you want to give it a thumbs down, but I'm telling you, just because King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Jethro Tull, Supertramp, Kansas Sticks, etc., not in the Rock Hall, that's not a good enough reason to turn your back on it. It's still a valid thing, and I really enjoyed going there, and I'm probably going to go back because I went before Yes got inducted, so I'm really excited to see the signatures on the wall. Yeah, I'm that kind of a dork. Anyway, I was going to do a review of E-Molecule this morning, but Nathan on Shuffle did one. He beat me to the punch, so I figured I'll let his review kind of stand alone for a few days. Maybe I'll review it. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. But anyway, yeah. Peace in the Middle East. I love you guys. And thoughts and prayers to all those people affected by the earthquake in Turkey and northern Syria. Just awful. But we will get through this because we are human beings. And human beings actually have the capacity for greatness. I know it doesn't look like it on most days, but trust me, that spark is still there. We will overcome any challenge that comes our way. And anyway, whatever. I'm Scott. And I will see you guys next time. Peace. Where's my button? I'm trying to press a button and I don't know where it is. Hey, there's the button. See you.